What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to do a 2020 Jeep Gladiator drivability test. I've had a couple people ask me, because I have the 2.5-inch lift, the 37s, and the 410 gears, they want to know what it's like to drive this truck, what the fuel mileage is, you know, braking, acceleration, etc. So I figured I will do this video before my gear change. That way, everybody that has this setup or is looking to do this setup will have the info. So stay tuned. Okay, so before we get going, for those of you that have not seen my Gladiator, this is a 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. I have a 2.5-inch Evo lift. I am still running the stock Fox shocks that will be getting changed out. If you do not have those shocks on, I would love to hear your opinions and what you have on your truck. I was thinking Kings, but now I'm thinking the 3.3 adjustable Falcons. So if you have that shock, I'd really love to know what you think. So these are the Mastercraft Mud Terrain 37 by 12.5, and the rim is a 17-inch beadlock. So just so you know the specs before we get on the road. Okay, so before we get going, the current average fuel mileage is 13.9 miles per gallon. So the reason that it's so low right now is because I just got done pulling my boat from an hour away at the dealership. We just had some work done to it, so that has dropped a good amount pulling that boat, because I think I was getting 11-ish miles per gallon while I was pulling the boat, so that's not quite accurate. You'll see as we get moving that on flat pavement it is quite a bit higher than that. So let's get moving. First test I think we'll do really quick, and I don't have a Taser yet. I will be getting the Taser as soon as I get my gear change so that I can change everything, but we'll do a quick 0 to 60 test just so that you can watch the dash. Okay, so we'll start this pretty much from about 10-mile-an-hour roll and punch it. So as you can see, it's not too bad for having 37-inch tires on a pretty good sized truck. I think when the truck is fully loaded, it's a little over 6,000 pounds. I have not put it on the scales yet, but I'm sure I'll probably do that someday just so that we can see how much the truck actually weighs. But I think it gets up and goes pretty good. If you want to pass somebody on the highway, or if you want to pass somebody going down a 2-lane road and they're going slow, it has absolutely no issues catching up to them. So I'm going to swing into a carpool lot real quick, and we're going to put the GoPro on the outside of the truck and hit the highway really quick. Alright, so we're going to bring it handheld now so I can flip you guys around. So we'll do it quick, getting onto the highway from my perspective. So this Jeep does have the 8-speed automatic transmission. So as you can see, it really does get up to speed quite nicely. Cruising down the highway at 80 miles an hour is not hard to do at all with this Gladiator. That 8-speed transmission really helps it out. Before this truck, I had a 2016 JKU, and that one had a 6-speed manual in it, and it just didn't have the same oomph that this thing does. So I'm pretty impressed with it. Now I cannot wait to get the 513s to see the difference. I'm sure it's going to be night and day, because the stock version of the truck without 37s on it, with 33s, like if you punch it from a dead stop, you can break the tires loose and do a burnout pretty freaking easy. So as far as cruising down the highway, let's check out fuel mileage. are going down a little bit of a hill right now. All right, quick flat pavement, 70. I mean, we're up over 20 miles per gallon with 37s. So I mean, nobody can really complain with that at all. We're on a little bit longer stretch of flat blacktop, cruising about 70 miles an hour, and we're getting average just over 20 miles per gallon. The one thing I do want to add, my fuel mileage when I first put these 37s on, before I changed any of the computer settings, was about 10 or 11 miles per gallon. It was really bad. These computers are pretty smart in these trucks. So I took it to the dealership, had the computer flash for the 37-inch tires, and immediately my fuel mileage was back up to 18 to 21 miles per gallon because the truck had no idea why it was being bogged down, so it was using a lot of extra fuel to run like normal, like it thinks it should. Make sure if you put 37s or larger or even 35s, make sure you have the dealer or get a Taser or something along those lines in order to change your tire size, because it will make a huge difference in not only the transmission but also your fuel mileage on these trucks. So that was just a really quick drivability test and my personal thoughts after owning one. I've owned it for 7 months now, 15,000 miles. If you have not seen that video, it's right up here. I did a full, my 15,000 mile review on my thoughts on the Gladiator, but it's really a fun truck to drive. It's definitely one of my favorite Jeeps I've owned, and I've owned a lot of them. If you have one, I'd be really curious to know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think of the drivability of it? Do you have the Sport Rubicon model? Is it lifted, not lifted? What do you wish was better? Now, stay tuned for the video that I do for the difference between the 410 gears and the 513 gears, because that video I will do a 0 to 60 test, a dyno run, drivability for the 410s and the 513. So then we'll be able to see, what the true 0 to 60 test is with the 37s between the 410s and the 513s, and then obviously the dyno numbers between the two sets of gears. So I didn't want to go in depth in this video. This was really just my thoughts of driving the truck and showing you a little bit of the fuel mileage. Now, I did not really go over braking. It does brake really well. The only thing I think that when you're pulling something like my boat, we have a 21-foot Yamaha twin jet engine speedboat, and it brakes pretty well with that boat. Now, you do have to pay more attention because like with any truck, when you're hauling a trailer, braking distance is going to be extended. So just make sure you're paying attention when you're pulling a boat. I think overall though, if you're thinking about getting one of these, I do think you'll be very impressed. When it had the 33s on it, this thing would scoot. It was quite amazing how fast it was for a truck. I guess I don't really want to say fast, just you know what I mean, the thrill of the acceleration and how it feels to drive the truck. That's what I mean. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please hit the subscribe button and the like button, and hit that little bell notification so you get notified every time we put a video out. And until next time, guys, have a great night.